Daf Memhe Amud Aleph, 9 lines from the top at the 2 dots. Anyone who has to leave their tchum in order for it to be matzav ratzos nefashos, they were allowed to return to their places. Va'afilo tuva, does that mean even if it's more than 2,000 amas? Va'amad reishal paim amas suloi. The Reisha says that they're only given 2,000 amas and not more. And here it says that if they went for Atzos Nefashos, they can return to their place, which is mashma, even if it's more than 2,000 amas. What it means to say is, no, not that they can return more than 2,000 amas. It means it means that they can go back to their places, they can return to the places with their weapons. The weapons are carrying. They were allowed to carry their weapons because of the Atzos Nefashos. They're allowed to carry the weapons back. We'll see why shortly in the Gemara. But that's what it means. But it doesn't mean that they can go more than 2,000 amas. Correct the Gemara, my kusha, well, what was the kasha to begin with? What was the kasha to begin with? They were asking that can they go back to their places even if it's more than 2,000 amas? The Mishnah said that the Reisha said that they're given 2,000 amas, not more. My kusha, what's the kasha to begin with? Maybe that's for other reasons. But for Atzos Nefashos, maybe then they were permitted even if it's more than 2,000 amas. Eli kasha kasha. So therefore, we must say that what forced him to say, or Yehuda Marav to say, that what it means to say that that they can carry their weapons back, it was the following kasha. The Mishnah says, originally when the Eidim left to be made on the new moon, on the new month, if they left at home, they could not leave their place. Once they were told they were no longer needed, then they couldn't move from the place that they were at. But Hiskin Rabban Gamliel Zaken Sheish Lemapay Mamlachol Ruach. And he was Masakin that no, we give them 2,000 amas in each direction. Not only for these people, they gave this kula Ela Filo Chachama Abba Leila. If a midwife comes to assist in a birth for a woman who's giving birth, and a guy's min anora min avapilos or min hadleika, and if a person comes to save from an attacking army, a flood, or a collapsed building, or a fire, they're like the people of the city, and they have 2,000 amas in each direction. So over here it says clearly an attacking army, and it says even though they came for Atzos Nefashos from Milchama, they only get 2,000 amas. So this is the kasha, this is the sira. We're talking about a Milchama and Atzos Nefashos, and it says they have 2,000 amas. Our Mishnah says that so Amar Yehuda Marav, what it means is not that they go have more than 2,000 amas. It means it means that they can carry their weapons back. Why can they carry their weapons back? What is the heter to carry their weapons? Carrying on Shabbos, like we learned in the Brisa. Originally, when they returned to their homes after the Milchama, they put their weapons in a house near the wall, and they would not carry it back. But one time the enemies saw them, and they spotted them, and they started chasing after them. And then they went into the house to get their weapons. And the enemies chased after them. And there was a panic, and they were pushing each other, and they crowded around, and they were pushing and panicking. And they killed each other. And they crushed each other, and they killed more of each other than the enemies. Because of that terrible Gefarlach HaMaisa, they saw there was a Sekonis Nefashos, and therefore they permitted them to return with their weapons to their homes. That's one pshat, but Rav Nachman Yitzchak Amar, a different pshat, like Kasha, Kan Shenitzchu Umas Hoylem Es Atzman. And the other case is talking where the Umas were victorious over each other, which is another way of saying where they were victorious over the Yid. So in that case, since it's the Sakana, they were defeated, they were allowed to return home even if it's more than 2,000 amas. So therefore, we bring down both of these, so that in a case where the Rahman Aslan were defeated, they can go more than 2,000 amas, but in any event, they can return with their weapons, because in both cases it's considered to be a sakana. Amar V'yur Amar Rav, Nachrim Shetzaralo is Yisrael. If the Nachrim, they laid siege to the cities of Yisrael, and you don't go out with your weapons, then Machal is the Shabbos, and you're not Machal Shabbos. We'll see what we're talking about, particulars in a moment. Tanya Namahachi, Nachrim Shetzaro, if they besieged Aris Yisrael, but Medvar Mamurim, what are the circumstances that we say that you're not Machal Shabbos? Kishabol is game moment. When they came for a moment, they didn't come to attack, to kill, they came to rob. Avabol is nefashos, but they came for nefashos, they came to kill. So there, if it's a sakonos nefashos, yoytzan aleim b'kli zayin mechal Shabbos. You can go with weapons and the mechal Shabbos. And in any event, if they're attacking a city that's near the border, even if they didn't come for nefashos per se, even for only straw and stubble, you are allowed to go out with weapons. And Mechal Shabbos, because since it's on the border, it's considered to be a sakana. Amar of Yosef Ramin, Amar of Nachman, Bavel Ki'ir Asmuch L'Sfar Dami. Bavel is like a city close to the border, and therefore you can be Mechal Shabbos even if they come for a moment. The Targuma, what does it mean, Bavel? What does it mean specifically? It means Nahardo. Nahardo, where there's a city where the Yidden lived, and it's by the border. It's considered to be by the border. It's by the gateway to where the Yishuv Yisrael is, and therefore can be Mechal Shabbos, is considered sakana. Doros Rav Duslayim in Biri, Ma'idach Sivetzel, Gabi David Melch, Vayirul David Lemar, Hine Plishtim Lochan Bekiila, Vehem Shaisim Esagronos. It says the Plishtim are attacking the city Keilah, and they're besieging the Gronos, the granary, and they're taking it, and they're pillaging the gronas, the threshing floors. Tana, we learned the Brisa Keilah Eras Muchlas Varais. Keilah was a city close to the border. Vehem loy bo ela yiskei Tevin Akash, and they only came for the Tevin Akash for a moment. Dechsi vehem sheisim esagronos. So it says sheisim esagrona is the Gairan. So you see what they came. They were pillaging the Gairan. They came for Tevin Akash. Nevertheless, Vayishal Dovid by Hashem Lamar, but nevertheless, Dovid asked, and by Hashem asking, it says Lamar Elech v'kisa plishtim mehela. Should I go and attack the plishtim? Vayemer Hashem al Dovid lech v'kisa plishtim. Go and attack the plishtim. Go attack the plishtim. So what was the question? What was David HaMelech's question? If it's a question of Isser v'Heter, it's a question on Shabbos. Is he allowed to go as a mutter also? Well, why would be asking the Urim v'Tumim? You don't ask Shilas of Isser v'Heter, Urim v'Tumim, you ask Sanhedrin. Harei Beis Dina shel Shmuel Aramosi Kayim. He had the Bezin of Shmuel Aramosi, of Shmuel Novi, and Shilas of Isser v'Heter, it's Leba Shamayim, it's Bezin Paskins. Rather, the question was, will he be victorious or not? And they can namis meduyik, because it says in the Pasuk leich v'yikisa b'plishtim v'yishates Keilah. It says, go and you attack the plishtim and save Keilah. Shema Mina, that it was a question of that will be a matzliach or not, and he was answered, go and you'll be matzliach. So therefore, that was the question he was asking. So if that's the case, what's the relevance to our topic? Where do we see anything over here, Lagabe, whether it's mutter or osra on Shabbos? So Taisa says that we see from here that it was a question of Isser v'Heter, because it says it's always a milchama. It says nilchomim b'keilah. It calls it a milchama, and therefore it was considered a milchama, and you're allowed to be meiser nefesh for that, and therefore you're allowed to go on Shabbos. Even though they only came for Tevin Akash, it says, therefore, but still they were allowed to go on Shabbos, even though they only came for Tevin Akash, but there it says it's called a milchama, and maybe we can be daik as well. It says, v'hai shata es keilah, and you'll save them, and So you'll save them. It means that maybe perhaps we can therefore interpret to mean be that's a sakana. They need to be saved. But Al Kolpon Taisa says that it's called a melchama, and we learn out from here that therefore it would be mutter even on Shabbos. Zok the Mishnah, someone who was traveling, and he was traveling, and he was outside of his city, V'amad, and then he stood up after already Shabbos began, and he saw that he was near a city. So therefore, his 2,000 amas, he was outside the city, but his 2,000 amas the city was within that 2,000 amas that he has, but nevertheless, that still, the din is that he cannot go into the city. They said, even though his tchum was in the city, since he didn't realize that he was within the city, and he did not have intention to be shavis within that city, he cannot go into the city and have it considered to be as one of the city. Now, if he is considered to be one of the residents of the city, that means the entire city is his Dalit Amas, and then he has 2,000 Amas in each direction. But over here, since he didn't realize that he was near the city and did not intend to be shavis in the city, it's not considered to be his city. So he has 2,000 amas from wherever he was on the onset of Shabbos. And if his 2,000 amas ends up somewhere in the middle of the city, he has to stop there. He doesn't have the entire city. So therefore, he cannot have it be considered as one of the residents. Divra Meir, that's what Rabbi Meir says. But Rabbi Yehuda says, Ikonis, even though he didn't realize, even though he didn't have kavona, he can still be considered to be one of the residents because his tchum the city is within his tchum. Rabbi Yehuda said, Maisa Hoya v'nechtas Rab Tarfon v'loy miskaven. There was a Maisa Rab Tarfon, a similar Maisa Rab Tarfon, and he did go in, even though he didn't have kavona. Even though he didn't realize he was in the city, so you can bring a raya from there that you don't need kavona. So this Maisa that we refer to, the Brisa gives specifics. Maisa was Rabbi Tarfon, he was traveling on the road. And now Shabbos came, and he slept. He was outside the city. And he slept Shabbos night, he slept outside the city. The shepherds, Masuroi Bakir, the next morning, the shepherds came and they saw him there. And Amrlo, they told him, Rebbe, they said, the city's in front of you. Come into the city. What are you doing on the road outside the city? So apparently, he didn't realize that the city was within his home. And nevertheless, Nevertheless, he went into the city and he was darshan the whole day. So, therefore, doesn't that show you that even though he didn't realize, he can be considered, nevertheless, as one of the city? Amrlo, they said, Misham Raya, you bring a raya from there, it's not a raya. Shema Belibo Haisa. Perhaps he did have kavanah, maybe he had intention. Or perhaps, even if he didn't, it's still not a raya, because yes, he came into the city and he dashed in the base of Medrash, but maybe that location of the base of Medrash was within his 2,000 amas. When we might know that he has 2,000 amas from where he was on the onset of Shabbos, maybe the base of Medrash was in the 2,000 amas. How do you know that the entire city is considered like Dalet Amas? How do you know that he's considered to be a resident of the city, and therefore he has the whole city, that the whole city is considered for him to be a Dalet Amas? Maybe the base Medrash was within his tchum of 2,000 amas, but he doesn't have the entire city. So they said, therefore, it's no raya.